Today is going to be a very special conversation because I am joined by my client, Gigi. And Gigi has been with us since April of this year, and she has had quite the transformation. So I'm just going to share here what she has done in 6 months. So incredibly admirable on your part. On the scale, it shows about 40 pounds, but you're a Lady the F client. You know that that is very likely more than 40 pounds of body fat because we have also added lean muscle mass. So without further ado, please welcome Gigi.
Thank you. Thanks, Lexi.
So how does it feel? I know you and I were chatting a little bit before we started the call, but how does it feel to see those progress photos and be like, whoa, I did that?
Yeah, I I'm like blown away by the progress. I don't when I look at my old pictures now or the pictures from the beginning, I like don't even recognize who that person is anymore. I feel probably better than I have like ever, and probably in the best shape that I've been in ever. Um, Even when I look back at a time where my weight was similar, I was maybe like 12 years younger than right now. I still feel like I'm in a much better place with my health and fitness than I was then, even though I was like the same weight. But as you said, that doesn't matter because my body doesn't look like that anymore. It's completely different. And yeah,
Yeah.
I thought this would be impossible to achieve, but
I was going through your initial intake form, pulling some stuff for this conversation, and I pulled up your 6 month goals. And it was last week or 2 weeks ago, where we officially hit that 6 month mark. So this was your goal that you had listed down. You're like, we'll see. But if I'm still here at the 6 month mark, I better be in the best shape I've been in since my wedding.
oh, there you go. Yes, so it's funny because I actually said to my mom, I'm like, I want to actually pull my wedding dress out and put it on because I bet you it actually will be big. So I'm probably around a similar weight to when I got married, but my body is very different. And the only reason why maybe it would still fit normal is because after children and two C-sections, my belly doesn't sit where it used to anymore. So maybe and hips change and things like that. But like, yeah, my body does not look the same as when I got married, and what I was doing then was probably not even working.
I would love to see you try it on and send me a photo, and then we can do like a side by side of when she got married to where she is now.
Yeah, I would love to. It's going to take a lot of effort to get that thing. I had a ball gown, so it's a big one. Need a
When
lot
you
of
have time,
people
no
to get it
rush.
out, put it on. I would love to, even for my own, like just to see for my own
Yeah.
satisfaction.
So let's rewind 6 months ago before that to your time before Lady the F Up. I know you did a whole bunch of group classes, and I believe you were plant based before coming to us as well. So
Very
fill me in on what your fitness and nutrition trials looked like before this.
Yeah, so I did do a lot of group fitness, and the reason for that is it was just easy. Um, you go, you get your hour in, you're out, and you don't have to think about anything. I think what I've said, like my biggest challenge has always been and always will be nutrition and food. And I think that my idea of what a healthy diet looked like before is not, I mean, now that I'm more educated as to what works for my body, is not what I was eating before. Like, I still find it crazy that I actually have not, I haven't even eaten a salad since I started this program, which is probably what I thought was like the healthy thing to do, but not realizing I was starving my body of all the macronutrients and all the things that it needs. So I was doing a lot of things wrong. I was strictly calorie counting. I wasn't actually paying attention to anything macro related. Although I think the education piece of that has come a long way from back then. I think people are a little bit smarter about those things now, and there's more information out there, which has helped. Um, yeah, I did. I tried being plant based twice. I did it for each time I did it for 6 months, and um, I mean, I think I felt better, but I don't think my body was responding to it the way I wanted it to. Because I think there's a very healthy way to be on a plant-based diet, and then there's a really shitty way of being on a plant-based diet where it's heavy gluten or a lot of foods that are full of chemicals and things that are just not good for your body. The first time I did it, I probably took more that route. The second time I did it, I actually tried to do it the right way. But for whatever reason, my body was just not working for me. Like it
Not
works for some.
enough. Yeah,
Yeah.
not enough amino acids. If you're not prioritizing that, and if you don't know to look for getting protein, especially being plant-based, that could be a huge
Yeah.
contributor.
And I knew that would be like a big thing. And that's like the comments that you typically get about a plant-based diet. Well, you're probably not getting enough protein in here. I'm like, I understand the protein. Don't worry. I get no, but especially that it's just hard because you have to eat so much to get the protein intake that I have now on a plant-based diet. And it's probably like, I can't just live off tofu. So like, I didn't know. Anyways, I thought, this is obviously not working for my body. I need to try something different. But that revelation didn't come until like after my second baby.
Now, trying something different, what brought Lady BF up into your life and onto your radar where you're like, maybe I should consider that?
Yeah, I have to. So this, I'll dial it back a little bit. It was in February, and Lexi, you know this story, but I went skiing with my kids, and well, my little guy's still too small, but I could not get from the top of the hill to the bottom of it. And I used to ski all the time as a kid, and I could not get from the top to the bottom of the hill without stopping like 4 or 5 times, and it was not a big hill. And at that point, I'm like, I will be damned if I'm not going to be able to ski and do things with my kids. And that was kind of the turning point for me where I was like, no, this is not going to be my life. Like, it can't be my life. At the time, I was doing the Mom Fit camps. A friend of mine runs them, and she invited me to be an ambassador to help run her program. And I was doing it with her. And I met another Lady the F Up member. And I was just sharing my struggles with her. And she's like, you need to call my girl Lexi, because like everything that you're saying is like what I struggled with. And it sounds like, first of all, it's an accountability thing. And she's like, I promise you, if you stick to the program, it will work. So I was like, well, I mean, nothing else has worked. So let's give it a try. And this is by far, from an accountability standpoint, been like the only program I've been on that I've seen like remarkable results. And then you kind of get addicted to those results, and you're like, I want to see more
And
results.
then your goalpost moves a little bit and you get there and it's never, yeah.
Well, a prime example, like I showed you what my goal was when I set it in January in terms of a weight. And then we talked about how I don't really actually care about the scale, but like because the number was there as my goal, the fact that I've already hit that, but I'm like, okay, cool. I hit that goal. Great. What's next? Like, what's the next goal? Because now I'm like, well, I thought this was impossible and I did it. So how much farther can I push myself now? Like now it's like sky's the limit. Let's see where we can take it. So that's kind of where I'm at the moment.
I love that. And it's breaking those limiting beliefs. And once you recognize that you're capable of anything with the right plan and the amount of consistency that it takes to get there, you're like, yeah, what can I do? And I know that this is going to be just the start of your lifelong journey. I don't think you're ever going to go back to that before photo. I'm going to pull it up one more time just because we've had a couple people jump in. So I just want to share this transformation with everyone. This is Gigi's 6-month transformation. So you mentioned the scale. So when you started with us, you were 188. And do you want to share where you are now?
Yeah, I am down to 149. and my goal was 150, which I thought it was not going to be achievable. I would have been happy at, like, if you asked me 4 months ago, I would have been like, yeah, like 160, that would be awesome. And we've like far surpassed that. And like you said, the number's just the number at this point because I'm 150. I actually have a friend that I was speaking to that noticed my results, and she was like, you know what? Like, you look smaller though than a university. Like, like, it's the same weight, but you look different. Like, your body looks different. So it's nice that like people like see that. So obviously there's a lot more muscle in there as well. So there's probably more fat loss than it looks.
Totally. Especially with that muscle gained. And that was something that like you and I kind of had some friction with in the beginning. We were like, these workouts are so boring. I miss my group classes. And I was like, this is what you need to do to get to where you want to be. We still factor in an occasional Orange Theory. She's actually doing 4 this week because it's Hell Week. And I'm like, you know what? Go have fun. 1 week of prioritizing cardio over resistance training is not going to undo your consistency. But what were the first couple of weeks like getting into this program and being like, all right, I have to eat all of this food? I remember you reaching out being like, is this right? Like, this is so much. And then also getting into resistance training 4 days a week compared to that mindset of I need to get my heart rate up and I need to be super sweaty in order for a workout to be effective.
Yeah. So in the beginning, I'm not gonna lie, like the first 2 weeks, and I knew they were gonna be hard. Because again, I had a friend that was in your program, and like she kind of told me like the first couple of weeks are gonna seem really daunting. There's a lot to learn and a lot of learning to undo. Um, and so that was tough. The food was probably the bigger thing because I was looking at the macro splits and I was like, are you kidding me? I am gonna blow up. I am gonna be huge. But that's not what happened. The workouts were, at first I was like, sweet, because I hate cardio. Let's just like throw that out there. I am not a cardio girl. I hate it. It was just one of those things where it's like I know it has to be done, which I'm sure is the case for many people. But I do not like cardio. So when I saw that, I'm like, oh, sweet. Like, there's no cardio. Awesome. What I struggled with is that at the end of the workouts, it was like, because I wasn't dripping in sweat and like, I was like, oh, I feel like I have to do some cardio because like maybe I didn't do enough, or so it took me a long time to kind of understand the method to the madness. And yes, the workouts became very repetitive and I was like, I don't understand. So a few times I've had to say, you gotta help me understand the method here. Like, why are we repeating the same things? And like, these were all things that I didn't know before. I mean, I understand them now because my shoulders have never looked like this. So I'm like, what are these? Like, I can actually feel the bone around my shoulder. Like, this is cool. But yeah, it took a lot of unlearning things to like kind of understand where the process was going to take me. Um, yeah, and now, the 30 minutes of cardio doesn't feel like much anymore when I have to do it. So it's actually made me stronger. I don't know. I don't like I told you I did the mile run challenge, and I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna do because I don't really do a whole lot of cardio anymore. But I was like, holy shit! Like, I killed my time by almost 2 minutes, which was insane. So I'm like, something's working. Something is obviously working. So
The more muscle mass you have and the less body fat, the easier it is to move your body. So that makes a lot of sense.
get on the grinding up from playing with my kids a lot easier now, and I don't even think about it. I'm like, wow, did I just like get up without even thinking about it? Like,
Yeah.
those things all like are just, they're small things, but they matter.
I would love for you to share a little bit more about mom life, just because looking at our list of attendees here and those that are going to be tuning in and watching the replay, a lot of them are moms. So, how do you do it? What are you noticing with these changes that you're impacting your own health and how that's reflecting within your family?
Yeah. So the whole reason I started this really came from wanting to just better myself for my kids. And I know that sounds like cliche, but it's real. Like that moment on the ski hill when I was like, I'm never going to be able to take my kids skiing if I don't like get myself into better shape. I was like, I need to do this. It was really hard in the beginning because I was only 9 months postpartum, so I was still on mat leave. I had my little guy at home, and I think obviously my husband has been very supportive throughout the process and helping me kind of prioritize the workouts and prioritize the food. Um, so it definitely helps to have an honest conversation with your partner or spouse or significant other just about like what your goals are, and be sure that the two of you are aligned so that you can have that support, because it would be a lot harder without it. So in the beginning, I would just, while my son was at home, I would put him down for a nap, and then that's when I would get my workouts in. And then if I had challenges with that, like there were a few times where I had to tell you like the workouts are a little bit too long because he's waking up like in the middle and I'm having to interrupt and go back and forth. So like we made little tweaks here and there, we shortened things. And that's another thing, is just being open and honest with your coach and your trainer about where you're at, and
Yes, please.
if you need
Exactly
to.
what she said.
Yeah, because I could have given up like many times because it did get to be a lot. But the biggest thing I probably did was not let it be an excuse, because it as a mom, it's really easy to be like, oh well, the kids, like it's easy to use that as an excuse. But when even my daughter's 3 and my son at the time was 9 months. So my 3-year-old was home. I would just tell her, mommy's going to go do her exercises. Like, why don't you come down with me? And I'd put her little yoga mat out, and I would there's a program on YouTube that's like kids yoga or something. And I would turn that on for her, and then she would do her exercises and I would do mine. And it would keep her motivated to do it because she's watching mommy do hers. So she's like, okay, cool. Like this is kind of fun. So
I love that so
yeah.
much.
So when she's home with me, I kind of try, if I can't get the privacy to do the workout myself, I will bring her in and just put her own little kids workout on. And then for my husband, so my husband actually ended up joining Man the F Up after seeing my progress. And I think the biggest thing was, I'm very much like, I'm cooking one meal, people. So you guys are either eating what I'm eating or cook it yourself. So automatically they just started eating the same things as me. And so I think even my husband's down like 20 pounds now. And he's only been on the program for a few weeks. But even before that, because he was eating what I'm eating, he just naturally was dropping the weight as well. The gluten and the dairy was like huge, because again, if you would have asked me before, like, no, I don't have a sensitivity to gluten. But now that I don't eat the gluten, I'm like, wait, is this how I'm supposed to feel? Like not bloated and actually like feel light and feel skinny? Like this is like not what I'm used to. I'm used to feeling like a blimp all the time. So, and I think he started to see that now as well. So gluten is something that is like a treat for me. If I want to like treat myself and have something specific, I'll have it, but it's not like an everyday part of my diet anymore.
How
Um,
does the rest of your family take that? Because I remember in our intro call, you're like, I'm Italian. We like our pasta. I go see my family on the weekends very regularly. How am I going to navigate this? So, what has that shift been like in the relationship you have with your family and your Italian food loving members?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's any other fellow Italians on the call here, but if you are, you will definitely know my pain. But I mean, my sister, in watching me do what I've done, she also is dairy gluten free. And so now, because both of us are kind of on that track, when my mom has us for Sunday dinners, or she actually will cook gluten free pasta now, so, or a protein pasta, because I've introduced them to other like variations, and I'm
Yeah.
like, guys, I promise it's not that bad. Like it's yes, it's different. Like regular pasta definitely tastes better, and you can have that once in a while. I'm not saying like you can never eat it again, but I'm telling you, like if you want to have your like when I was telling like guys, I eat pasta every day. I've actually been in the beginning, I was eating pasta every day. And they're like, well, how? And I'm like, well, I'm just not eating that pasta. And I still made my own sauce. Like, and that's the thing is like, if you're Italian, you probably make sauce on Sundays, or someone in your household makes sauce on Sundays. I still make my own so I can control what's in it. And we do ours like completely from scratch. Literally, it's just the tomato sauce and then whatever kind of spices or onion, garlic stuff you want to put in it. And I keep it like really simple. So now that's something that my family is like, okay, like, you know what, this actually isn't that bad. It gets harder when we have our extended family gatherings, like Thanksgiving, birthdays, and things like that. I think the one thing that drives me freaking crazy is when people automatically assume that because you've lost so much weight, well, you must not be eating. And I'm like, lady, I eat probably more than everybody sitting at this table. To be honest, I was like, I eat. I remember the last gathering I was at. It was like, so like, are you eating tonight? I'm like, what kind of question's that? Like, yes, I'm eating tonight. I'm not eating. Like, there's no gun to my head saying like, you know what, tonight I'm gonna like have a chocolate chip cookie. I can. The thing is I just pick and choose when I have those nights now. I don't sit on the couch and eat a box of cookies anymore. So
Yes. Yes, yes,
they,
yes. I love that so much
yeah.
because it really
So
is about the balance. And for the women that are in this room right now, nothing that we did was extreme. Like you resistance train 4 days a week, you do cardio maybe 3, 4 days a week if we factor in an Orange Theory. I have never gotten aggressive with your food, but it's because you've been so damn consistent and you've been practicing that life balance of, yeah, I'm going to have one cookie this weekend and I'm going to enjoy it. And then the rest of my food is going to be whole foods. Or, yeah, I'm going to have my Italian, not tracked out dinner with my family. But then from Monday to Friday, I'm going to be on point with my macros. And that is why you are successful in the way that you are, because you have been consistent and you have never fallen into the all or nothing, minus Vegas. But we'll talk about that.
well, that yeah, Vegas was a thing, but I mean that was Vegas. But that was hard. That was really hard. Not being in Vegas and not like I actually did not do bad. I still kept up with the training. If I didn't get the resistance training in, I at least made sure I went for a walk, which I mean, I walked so much it didn't matter anyway. But I definitely had drinks, maybe too many, but I could have easily come back from that trip and been like, honestly, I'm done for this week. I need like a week recovery. That
Yeah.
was probably the hardest thing I've come back from was training my mind to get back into it. And I think you talked to me about what happens when you come off like a high like that. And it was funny because when I spoke to my sister and my cousin who had been on the trip with me, they were feeling the exact same way. They're like, man, like I don't want to work out this week. I don't want to like whatever. I just want to sit on the couch and eat a bag of chips. And I'm like, okay, well, this is what my trainer told me. And now it makes sense because now we're all feeling it because we all just went through the same thing. And I think the fact that I came back and I just like powered through it, I didn't want to do it, but I still did it. And you were right. It took about 1 week, maybe 2 weeks to flush that all kind of out of the system and then start feeling better again. Now I think so. My dad's birthday was another one that passed. So I know you don't drink, like you don't drink at all, but I do from time to time now. I don't do like I've never been like a during the week drinker. I've always been just a social drinker weekends, like parties, things like that. So my dad's 65th birthday was another one, and I knew that I was going to have drinks that night. So what I didn't do was also throw my diet out the window. Like I ate really well the entire day. And usually when I have situations like that, it's either you can have dessert or you can have a few drinks, but you can't have both. So you choose what you want to do. So for Thanksgiving, I chose dessert. For the birthday party, I chose to have a few drinks. So finding like that balance and sticking to it is probably what's also kept the train on the track and not, falling into a slump as I would have probably done in the past.
Yep. And that's what's allowed us now to start increasing your food again. We've done our dieting phase where the lowest I think you got was like 1450, something like that. And now being able to bring your food back up to where it was before and beyond that with this new body composition, because you didn't have those overboard weekends or the fuck it weeks where you're like, oh, I came back from Vegas, I'm not feeling great, I'm hungover, I'm sad, I'm in a dopamine deficit. Fuck it, because the faster you get back to those consistent actions, the better your progress is going to be. And for any women who are listening to this call and you're finding that you're in that comparison mindset of, oh my God, she did it in 6 months, I'm a year and a half into this and I'm still really frustrated, and you're in that comparison, rather than seeing it as defeating, choose to see what is possible when you are consistent. And everyone's genetics are different. Like when Gigi came to start with me, she hadn't been giving her body enough amino acids. She hadn't been giving her body enough food, and she wasn't resistance training. So implementing those changes led to a very fast transformation. But if you're in a different state or a different background or a dieting history, I just want to remind all of you, use this as an inspiration of what is possible rather than getting into that comparative, what's wrong with me sort of mindset.
Yeah, I probably fell into that trap many times in the past, and don't also fall into the trap of like, oh crap, like I've been at this for 3 months, it's not working, I'm gonna give up. I did that. That is probably what my biggest challenge was in the past, is I would go hard for like 2 months, 3 months, and I would lose some weight, but then didn't get to where I want. And then I'd have a trip, and then the trip would ruin everything. And then I would just go back to being like, you know what? Maybe this is just going to be my life now. And I'd rather eat. So let's just eat. And when I say rather eat, I mean eat like a donut or McDonald's or those things. Like, wow. When I look back on it now, I'm like, God, my diet was so bad. But anywho, yes, it's been like absolutely life changing. And I hope that what I've done resonates. Even I hope it's resonated with you guys, but um, even within like my own family, to figure out some way to change their mindset on food, because they're very stuck in their ways, and there are health issues in my family. So I hope that, like, even if I can change the mindset of one person, then it's totally worth it.
Yeah. And we've seen that. Your husband now, your sister. So all you can do is lead by example. And you are doing just that. And the people around you are noticing this change, being like, oh, okay, whatever she's doing, it's working. And she's eating and she's not starving herself. She's not doing hours of cardio. So just, keep doing what
Yeah.
you're doing, continue to be positive on most days. Question: what would you say is your biggest stressor or struggle right now when it comes to this process?
Geez. I still think the food when it comes to gatherings and family is always going to be the biggest stressor, and the going out. I still got to change my mindset from the like I choose not to go out sometimes because I don't want to be tempted to make a shitty choice. So it's easier for me to stay in. So I think really got to work on overcoming that barrier.
Yeah, use me for those. If you get invites and you know where you're going, we can always determine what you're going to have on the menu. And especially as we reverse diet you and bring your calories up, more opportunity for social situations. But that is part of getting to a transformation that you did, was making those sacrifices of, I'm not going to go out as often as I would usually say yes to, so I can honor my goals, get to where I am, and then build that sustainability and flexibility once you are in a more comfortable position.
I think one extra point that I'll add before we drop is that once you find your groove and you're consistent, having the one day where you go out and you decide to, I don't know, have a dessert or have a drink, you'll let go of the guilt from that afterwards. And that's where I'm at now, is if I choose to have a drink, or it's my daughter, if I choose to have a drink or I choose to have a treat for myself, I don't let that guilt carry over. Like, I'll go the next day and be like, was it worth it? Do I feel like shit about that decision? And the answer is no. Like I know that I'm consistent enough that the one day I decided to treat myself is not going to ruin my week. And that's shown in my progress. So that's been a big confidence booster for me
Yeah.
as well. I don't have
And
to
you,
cut everything out that I love.
yeah, you didn't have that mindset coming in, but you will absolutely have that mindset for the rest of your life. And I'm so pleased that you have made that transition. I know you probably got to jump soon. I just want to open the questions floor to anyone that is still attending live. Feel free to pop them into the chat. And I have one question for you as well, Gigi, and that is, what is next?
Oh, so I think at first I was kind of like, oh, okay, like I'll try this 3 months. Then 3 months turned into 6. And now I'm like, you know what? I want to commit to the year. So I feel like every summer for as long as I've probably been like in my teens, I've always been like, oh, I got to work on my summer bod. I got to work on my summer bod. And I think this is the first time I can actually like work on my summer bod and see what that will look like in another 6 months from now. So I want to commit until I think it would be April, I guess, and just see where that takes me. I really want to continue to focus on building muscle and just seeing like how far we can push my body to look. I mean, it already looks like I would have never thought that it would look the way it does now, but now that we're here, I want to see how much farther we
Let's
can
keep going. And
yeah.
I'm so excited to take you there in a sustainable way with your
Yeah.
life of being a mom and work and wife and juggling all of the stuff, plus taking care of you as well. Yeah. So Fiona said, yes, mama, hashtag lady the F up. And then Sabrina agreed, Italian with pasta as an appetizer.
Yeah, yeah, it is. It's usually that's like part of it's like here's your like first course, second. Yeah, it's usually pasta. It's hard, but yes, the one other thing I will say is nothing in this process has made me feel like I'm restricted in any way. I eat more
Amazing.
now than I have probably in my entire life, and it is foods that I genuinely love. Some foods new that I didn't know I loved, but I love now. So I mean, it's possible. It can be done. You just have to like mind over matter.
I love it. And we will end it there. Thank you so much for joining us, Gigi. Gigi will be at the Hammer Fitness Gala for anyone
Yes.
who is coming on January 19th. Remember that your early bird tickets are only on sale at that price until November 1st. They go up. So I think you have the end of today and tomorrow to grab those. We will have some more available afterwards. So it'll just be a little bit more expensive. If you want to find Gigi and connect with her on Instagram, what is your handle again? And you can share with the group.
Can I put it in the chat? My real name is really long. Here we go. I think there we go. Yeah, I think that will work. There we go.
All right.
And then I'll also share. I also have I have another page too. And I know there's a lot of moms on here. I have a mom page that I do with my sister. And that's my other page. So my sister, Tiny Tots and Tidbits. My sister and I run this page. It's just a mom group. It's just a place that we kind of created to connect with other moms and share advice and things like that. So yes, you can find me on either of those two.
Thank you for sharing. All right. Enjoy your evening, ladies. And we will be back next week. I believe one of our Lady the F Up clients who is a nurse practitioner is going to be on to talk about some stuff. So that'll be interesting. See you next week. All right.
Okay.
Thanks, Gigi. Bye, guys.